Here's a secret. It's not about luck. It's not about follower count. Let's get into why a lot of your favorite creators are getting consistent brand deals and you can't seem to land one. Welcome to the Purpose Brand Management YouTube channel. My name is Bree if you're new here, and I share tools, tips, and strategies on how to build a powerful brand, grow your audience, and monetize your influence. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, this is the perfect place for you. Go ahead and hit subscribe and let's get into the video. So today we're getting into what is the secret behind all these influencers getting high paying brand deals and consistent brand deals? Why do they get to say every month I'm making 5K, 10K, 15K, and it's on a consistent basis, and every time you get a brand deal, it's a one-off, or you'll have months where you get 4, then you'll have a few months to go by where you get none. Let's get into it. Okay, so number one, the thing that's gonna help you, y'all have to stop. When you look at metrics, you're focused on the wrong metrics. You guys are focused on the follower count, you're focused on the views. That will not do it for you. There's a lot of people that reach out to me with 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 followers on Instagram, and they are making no money in brand deals, but they get lots of views, they're popular, people like them. That doesn't translate to brand deals, right? So what is that thing that's going to get you there? And it's simply engagement. People are always saying this, but let me tell you what you need to be doing to get your engagement up. Number one, when you're posting content, you need to make sure that the content you're posting is not so you focused, that people can actually feel like they're part of this conversation, they're part of this community, that they can relate in some way, and not just relate to where they can say, oh my gosh, that's so funny, you're gonna like the post. No. You need them to actually engage and comment on those posts, correct? So to do that, you have to make the content conversational. Like when you're talking and doing voiceovers in your videos, you need to make it conversational. You need to make it seem like you're talking, dependent obviously on the tone that you want to, give off in the content. You need to treat it like you're speaking to your best friend. If you're somebody who's just, in beauty, lifestyle, wellness. Now, if you're somebody like me who's a coach or who is a strategist, whatever the case, whatever you want to call yourself, obviously the tone will be a little different. But you still need to make sure that there's open communication on both sides. When I watch a lot of people's content, I see that there is no room for conversation. I personally, a lot of the times, don't even leave comments on, content that I see in my own personal time, because I don't feel that it's necessary, because I don't feel like this creator is trying to speak to me. And once you connect the dots like that, you will see your engagement skyrocket. And this is why we're seeing a really big trend of people with 100,000 followers, 50,000, 10,000 followers. But when they have a super engaged audience that is almost like the blind leading the blind, those are the people making money and getting consistent brand deals. That's why it's super important to figure out what your engagement rate is. If you're like, Bree, I have no idea what my engagement rate is, there's a few different ways you can go about this. Yes, there are engagement rate calculators on the internet. Here's what I typically find with those though. If you go to about 3 to 5 websites that claim they have an engagement rate calculator, you'll find that you're gonna get a different answer every time you put in your profile. So to me, they're not 100% accurate, and you're gonna have to do what I like to call a little bit of shopping around, a little bit of comparison to actually see where you might fall. Some of the ones that I typically use as a starting point, if I'm calculating engagement for a client, for me, whatever the case may be, I may start on Hype Auditor, I may start on Mod Dash. There's just a few what's the other one? Collapster. There's a few. If you go type in Google, you'll see a few pop up. But what you'll find once again is that they're not going to be consistent numbers. And so for the people who are also still a little confused, let me give you the exact definition of engagement rate. Engagement rate is a metric that measures how actively your audience interacts with your content on social media, calculated by dividing the total numbers of interactions. What are interactions? Likes, comments, and shares, by your total number of followers, then multiplying by 100 to get a percentage, essentially showing how well your content resonates with your audience. This is so important, and I want to give you an example of what happens when you have a lot of followers and a low engagement rate. I recently had a client that I was working with that had over 400,000 followers on Instagram. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, amazing. I thought the same thing when I first saw her. I was like, awesome. But then when I started doing a deep dive on her profile, I was like, oh, she has like a 0.35 engagement rate. That is horrible. So brands would reach out. They would email her and they'd be like, hey, we'd like to know your rates. She would tell them the rates, but then they would end up laughing at her through email because they were like, your rates are entirely too high for your engagement rate. Yes, there are women and men who are making X amount of dollars that have similar sizes to you, but their engagement rates are also on average or above average. So you lose a lot of negotiating power when you don't have the engagement rate or the statistics to back up the claim of what you're charging. And I will make a whole nother video about what you should be charging. And I'm not going to tell you guys specifics because there's no way for me to tell you specifics without auditing your account. But I can give you a general rule of thumb on how you should be thinking about calculating and not using other people's to compare. So another big thing that I notice a lot is that a lot of people are not integrating products on a regular basis. If you're somebody who is a wellness influencer, right? Let's say you're making gym content, you're a gym rat, awesome. We see you work out, we see you pumping the glutes, we see you doing all these things, right? If I don't ever see you use any products in your videos as a brand, I'm like, it'll seem really inauthentic to his or her audience to insert my product because she never inserts products. A lot of people are waiting for a brand deal or PR to start posting products. That is the worst thing you can do. And I guarantee you, you will not see brand deals as quickly as you want if you continue down that path. You have to find ways to naturally integrate products, and that can be done within every niche. So if you're not even let's say you're a new mom and you make new mom content, you're with the baby all the time, you're showing how hard it is to be a mom, whatever the case may be. What type of formula are you using? What type of bibs do you buy your baby? Do you shop at Carter's when you're buying clothes, right? Show these things. Because guess what? Now Carter's is like, oh my gosh, we saw the cutest baby on Instagram today in our clothes. Okay, I saw her, she's on my radar, right? If you never do that, how do you expect in this overly saturated market where everyone and their mama want to be an influencer right now? How do you expect them to find you, right? And even when they do find you, how do they know that they will have an ROI, right? Return on investment. How do they know once they send that product to you or they pay you for this sponsorship that they'll actually be receiving their money back? There's only so many things because unfortunately with this industry, brands do not 100% know if they will see an ROI. There's times they're like, okay, I'm 90% sure, I'm 50% sure, I'm 60% sure. Those percentages are based off what they see on the profile, right? And once again, engagement rate plays a big piece, but natural integration is up there just as much, because if you're not able to do that consistently, or for example, you never talk in your videos, and a lot of people hate when I say this because on TikTok, when I do audits, I find a lot of the times like people were posting videos, but they're always using trending audio or they're always using, just regular songs. How will it feel for someone who is your audience member? You always make TikToks, you never talk to me, right? And you only make videos with audio over them. But one day after you posted like 100 videos, right? Now you get online and you're like, hey, I found the best chapstick. Burt's Bees has X, X, and X. It's gonna be weird because you haven't even pruned or you haven't even given the audience even a taste of what it is for you to speak to them. And the first thing out of your mouth when you speak to them is a brand partnership. Do you know how crazy that sounds to a brand and how crazy that sounds to audience members? If you've never followed me on TikTok before, I made a video, it went viral, about why you need to speak in your videos in regards to brand deals. And I gave a great example of what it looks like for brands and your audience members when you do that. Imagine you are sitting in an office with your coworker, right? Every day your coworker that sits next to you comes in, she never speaks. Never speaks. She comes in every single day for 100 days, never speaks to you, right? Then on day 101, she comes in and she's like, hey girl, my little sister is selling Girl Scout cookies. Do you want to buy some? If it was me, I'm gonna look at my coworker like, I know this lady's not asking me for money. I know this lady's not trying to sell me nothing. And she comes right past my desk every day and don't even say hi. You're gonna be like, whoa, right? So now let's reframe that. If that same coworker comes in every day for 100 days and she's like, hey girl, how are you? Hey girl, oh my gosh, I love your lipstick. Where'd you get it? Ooh girl, or she comes in and you're like, girl, who did your hair? Like, she's just naturally asking questions because you created relationship. Day 101 comes and she's like, hey girl, my little sister is selling Girl Scout cookies and I really want to help her. Girl, give me like 6 boxes. I love me a good cookie. You've established the relationship. People make this complicated for no reason, because the same same way you have to create relationships in real life, you have to do the same thing as an influencer. If you don't create the relationship, how will you ever build trust within the audience? Think about that the next time you're thinking, why am I not getting any brand sponsorships? Why am I not getting any collaborations? Think about that. Another reason you may not be seeing consistent brand deals is because the content is all over the place. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys, if a brand cannot directly see the audience that you have targeted, there's no way they're gonna work with you. If I can't look at your content and in my mind, okay, these are the type of people that follow Anna on social media, making up a name. And guess what? Brands can't see that either. If they can't see that, how do they know that, okay, if I'm Ulta, I'm targeting women who love to feel beautiful, who love to look X, X, and X. Or if I'm like a sustainable energy brand, I want to work with people who are composting, who are doing things to help save the environment, right? If you have a one-off video where you're doing composting, but then in another video, you're going out to eat at Dave & Buster's, but then in another video, you're doing a mini vlog at your house where you're working out, taking creatine, all these things. How do they know who is actually there for that one composting video? So you have to dial it in, guys. And if you want to know more about like that, specifically in regards to YouTube, I'm gonna make a video about like how to choose a niche as well later down the line. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of that. But that has to be done. And of course, you have to be consistent. There's no other way around it. Once again, I've worked on the brand side before looking for influencers. And if you're not consistent, I'm not working with you. I'm simply not working with you because I cannot trust that you will actually sustain your audience and hold their attention long enough for my product to maybe potentially get an ROI. If I can't see consistency, I can't invest my money into it. And you have to think like that. Think for a second when you think about brand deals and sponsorships. Remove your brain from creator brain and switch it to brand brain. I want you to think of you as a business owner. And I want you to think, okay, I have 50 items, right, that I bought. I want to sell 40 and I'm going to give 10 to influencers, right? You're going to be really stingy and strategic on who you give those 10 to because you only have 50 products. So people think that they should be getting sponsorships on a whim and that people should just be, spending money doing whatever. You have to think with a brand brain, with a business brain, and turn off your creator brain for 1 second. The consistency has to play a role. You cannot go ghost for a week, go ghost for 2 weeks and expect people to take you seriously. This is supposed to be quote unquote your business, right? But you showing inconsistency is showing me that you don't take it serious. So I hope this video was helpful, guys. I just really wanted to talk about like a lot of misconceptions because a lot of people think like, oh, like there's something that I need to specifically change that I can do today that will give me brand deals tomorrow. It's not that easy. For the type of brand deals that I help people with, they're wanting the $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 dollar brand deals. That isn't gonna come from a mediocre content creator, respectfully. And I know that's hard to hear. But you have to be going above and beyond and really making sure you're taking the tips that I told you to do and applying them to your channel so that you do have these opportunities. But anything less right now with this high level of competition will not cut it. So I hope this was helpful. This is tough love. All of my videos are always tough love, guys. So I hope I didn't hurt anyone's feelings too much, but I wanted to keep it real. So if you're here at the end of the video, make sure you drop the secret emoji so I know you stuck around for the whole thing. Make sure you subscribe if you are somebody who is on this influencer journey. You're a business owner who wants to create an online presence and build a personal brand or business brand. If you want to chat with me one-on-one, of course, services are always linked below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.